Whenever Chengdu is mentioned, its hot pots and pandas jump into people's minds. Yet, as a city with more than 3,000 long years of rich history, Chengdu has much more to offer. Venturing a little farther after the panda reserves and a savory hot pot, you may come upon places such as the Wuhou Temple or Dufu Thatched Cottage. A little farther still, you may find yourself at the gateway to a land of poetry. Like many other historical metropolises, Chengdu too has had its share of triumphs and losses, heroes and suitors, love and sorrows, inviting images of bygone riverine verandas, and still lingering plum blossom fragrance. In such an imagined poetic space, you see Lu Yu tipsily strolls among rioting blossoms. Or after a night of spring rain, Dufu, the sage poet anxiously waits for dawn, when twilight illuminates the wet rats, flowers cloaking the brocade city. Or Li Bai, the poet of celestial talents, exhilarating chants on lofty flower-scattering tower. Its stairway leads into azure clouds, distant view dissipates my sorrow. I came today to ascend for a view and encountered a heavenly paradise. These are divine scenes indeed, but more than romantic themes or beautiful sceneries, great poetry needs to connect with people. Dufu cared about the sufferings of the poor. When lamenting how an autumn gale tore open his thatched rooftops, he was reminded more about those without any shelter whatsoever. How I wish there were thousands of grand mansions to shelter all the homeless to their heart's content. Even during his tenure in faraway Hangzhou, Su Shi couldn't forget the hardships faced by the people in his hometown, as expressed in his poem in response to Ziyou's poem about the Silk Festival. The people of Sichuan struggle for their daily bread. In non-harvest season, they tend to the silkworms instead. In poetry, Chengdu may seem colorful, majestic, and humanistic, yet turning the pages of the Compendium of Chengdu, it is like walking into a time capsule of the late 1800s. Pushing through history's heavy door with a squeak, brushing aside the dangling spider webs, and blowing off a thick layer of dust, one sees a different Chengdu, a less glamorous city moaning with suffering and struggling for a change around the late 1800s. Historical-wise, Chengdu owed its peace and abundance to two things. First is the ancient Dujiangyan irrigation system. It guarantees a bountiful rice, whereas the fragrance permeating eternally above the vast plain. Second is the Su Pass of Jiange, where a well-known idiom best sums up its precariousness. A single soldier guards the pass, and a fourth 10,000-strong laments. While the strategic terrain had helped protect Chengdu in the past, it also means restricted access to the outside world. In early 1900s, it had hopelessly lagged far behind the coastal regions of China. Rampant warlords and bandits, persistent famine and fleeing refugees plagued this former land of abundance. Its economy was weak and malnourished. Its local entrepreneurs and domestic workshops were unable to compete with the constant flow of foreign goods from Guangdong. A change was needed, and people of the land of abundance demonstrated once again their perseverance and tenacity. Instead of sitting still or migrating elsewhere, people started their self-strengthening movement. The promotional market for local goods as well as many vocational training centers was set up. Promotional market for local goods was an effort to protect and advertise the products made in Sichuan. The vocational training centers were a much more broad approach to train the unemployed to be self-reliant and locally autonomous. As successors of a land with a rich humanistic tradition, Chengdu didn't forget about the poor and the displaced. Numerous charity organizations were established: Inhumation Squad, Shelter for Toddlers and Slave Girls, Hospital for Laborers, Opium Addiction Rehab Center, etc. There were even more unsung heroes, local philanthropists who offered services such as Corpse Recovery Squad, Ulambana Association, Coffin Provider, Burial Ground Provider, etc. Today, Chengdu vigorously promotes the tenfold culture of innovation and creation, fashion and elegance, optimism and inclusiveness, kindness and public welfare. From this, we can clearly see the inheritance of the spirit of public welfare. For thousands of years, people of Sichuan have been diligent and unyielding in the face of hardship. The poet Liu Shahe once remembered vividly how he participated in the building and expanding of an airport in Chengdu for Chinese and US warplanes during the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. Using only hammers, shovels, and picks, the Chengdu Shuanggui Temple Airport, now Chengdu Shuangliu International Airport, was finished in an unbelievably short period of time. Likewise, when the physically less dominant Chuan army marched east to the battlegrounds to fight against the well-armed invaders, with some Chuan soldiers dressed in straw sandals and shabby uniforms, few believed in their capabilities. Yet they proved themselves to be courageous warriors who never hesitated to sacrifice their lives for the sake of the country. This heavily populated plain became the pivotal ground for the new recruitment. When other regions fell under the Japanese occupation, thousands and thousands of newly enlisted soldiers bid farewell to their loved ones and marched east resolutely. Few were able to return to the land of abundance, which must have emerged over and again in their dreams far away from home. It is no exaggeration to say that it was Sichuan, the vast Ria area, that saved the nation from great peril in the 1940s. Chengdu's economy took off in the 1970s. After 40-some years of development, Chengdu has become a hub for China's southwest, both politically and economically. Its strategic location once again starts to play an important role in China's Road and Belt Initiative. Its cultural practices and way of living have repeatedly won praises from others in the world. With miles and miles of interconnected zero-carbon concept parks and recreational areas, Chengdu has been repeatedly named as one of the happiest cities in the world. Since 2018, more than 20,000 Sino-Europe expresses with full train loads of all kinds of goods and products have come and gone between Chengdu and Europe. Now with trains also to Laos, Chengdu is quickly becoming a new center for trade with Southeastern Asian nations. From its desperate promotional market for local goods and the vocational training center of the late 1800s, Chengdu has come a long way to reclaim its former glory. It is a new tale of the two cities. The phoenixes are once again soaring above China's southwest. As legendary birds, phoenixes obtain new life, rising from ashes of their predecessors. While in ancient China, the phoenixes are said to descend and dance gracefully for signs of auspiciousness. The trees they like to nestle and perch on are therefore called phoenix trees, a tree known for its vigorous growth. As the Book of Odes goes, perhaps it is no coincidence that Chengdu has a mountain which resembles a phoenix spreading its wings. With numerous phoenix trees growing, it is called Phoenix Mountain. Here, the Book of Odes comes to mind once again. When phoenixes soar, all birds shrill laughter. When they perch, all birds pay homage. As the hub of China's southwest, imagination is the only limit.